Alright guys, so today we are going to be making homemade bear granola. So I want to give you a little bit of background on this recipe. So I developed this recipe back when I was a poor college kid and just wanted to hunt bears. So, I thought about it and I wanted to buy granola because that's what everybody talks about is good for bears. Well, I'm like, man, this stuff is so expensive, and I'm like, what why should it be so expensive? And I started thinking, well, what is granola? Granola is oats, number one. It's oats mixed with some sweet stuff. And so I'm like, well, man, that sounds like something I can make. Because you can buy a bag of rolled oats, something like this right here, 100 pounds of oats for 11 bucks. A whole barrel of granola is $100. Two of these bags fills a barrel. So I'm thinking, well, why can't I make my own? So today I'm going to walk you through what I do to make my bear recipe. So with this recipe, I'm going to go through, there's almost two parts to this recipe. Number one is the key ingredients, which you really can't do without. I'd say there's three things in this recipe you have to have, otherwise it's not going to work. And then from there, everything else, it's almost a customizable recipe. I'll show you what I'm going to put in there, but you can do whatever you want. So number one is rolled oats. You buy this at a feed mill or a grain store, some sort of pet supply store. I got mine the local, if you want to see what that looks like. I got mine the local feed mill where they sell livestock feed, 11 bucks for 100 pounds. And that is rolled oats. That is the same base ingredient as actual store-bought granola. The only difference is the granola that you and I eat from the bags is toasted. This is not toasted. Other than that, it is literally the exact same thing. So that's number one. Number two thing I always put in there is Beta 907 Sweet Surrender. This is a blueberry muffin. You can use whatever flavor you want. But this stuff, it's extreme. It's like condensed sweetener. And so you can add a little bit and make this really, really sweet. And it's powdery, so it gets all over the oats. So that really helps. So that really helps the bears to eat it a lot more, and the smell is really strong too. And then the other thing that's kind of crucial is molasses, feed grade molasses. I buy this stuff for about, I forget what the cost is. It's like $3 or $4 for a gallon. But this stuff is thick and it's really, really sweet, and it smells really, really strong. And this will help make it almost like a sticky granola. And so this is key. All right, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start mixing this up. First thing, I'm going to put in the Sweet Surrender here. I'm only going to do half a barrel here, so that way it's easier to work with and you kind of see. But this basically for a full barrel just double the quantity of everything. So I'm going to put in the Sweet Surrender here, and I'm going to apply a little bit, but not full bag or anything like that. Okay, it's probably maybe a quarter of this bag here. What I'll do first, I'll just stir this up with a shovel. It's a lot easier to have half a barrel too, so don't try to pour a whole barrel full and then mix it up. Okay, second ingredient, molasses. A little goes a long way with this stuff. It's probably more than enough. Make this extra sticky. You kind of see it getting mixed around in there. Actually, I'm going to add a little more here. We'll finish this off. So you're looking at probably half a gallon for 100 pounds oats here. So as you can see now, my goal is to coat all the oats in this sticky stuff. And definitely try to get along the edges because you're going to miss some oats. Alright, that should be pretty well worked now. As you can see from the oats here, look how they went from, now they're all really sticky. Okay, so next step here. From here on out, all the ingredients I'm throwing in here are totally optional. What I recommend is, because I've used a variety of stuff over the years. One years I used like Heath toffee and candied dates. Other years I've used almond butter. So it all depends on what you can find that's a good deal, because the goal is to keep this as cheap as possible. Now for me this year what I'm using is I went and I got some black oil sunflower seeds that I mixed into there. So you can see I bought this at the feed mill too. This is sort of pricey, but a little goes a long way with this bag. So this is a 50-pound bag. It's paid $17 for it. And then what else I'm going to mix in here is I have some Lucky Charms cereal marshmallows, just the marshmallows. So this bag I paid $10 for a whole. This is half a bag, so I'll throw that whole bag in there. It'll be $5. And then I'm also this year too going to. I really like to use. I don't say you have to have it, but I'd say obviously the dog says this is good too, but. I like to use either peanut butter or almond butter in there. That really helps. You know, the bears love anything to do with nuts, so that really helps. All right, so we're gonna mix this stuff in. First off is I will throw in a whole bunch of sunflower seeds. No exact amount required. I'm just gonna pour this in here. Apparently the bag has a hole in it. Well, and then there's photos here, video here. I'll have to clean that up later. Okay, so that's about the amount of sunflower seeds I got in there after the bag burst. I mean, but that's a decent amount anyway. So, you know, I don't want the whole thing sunflower seeds, but a good mix. Okay, and then I'm going to pour lots of sweet stuff, because right now, this time of year, the bears love sweet stuff. So, pour this whole bag in there. Okay, so I'm going to go and mix this in here. Try to get this well distributed. Alright guys, last thing I'm going to mix in there is some peanut butter. So this is a jug of peanut butter. I got this for, I paid $15 for this whole jug. I'm not putting the whole jug in there. I'm going to put about half of this in here. You know, I'm making it probably a little more expensive than you have to, but this is going to be some really good primo bait. I'm competing with a lot of other baits and natural foods in Wisconsin right now, so I want to try to make this as good as I can. So obviously it's a little tough to pour, but it's coming out now. With this recipe too, there is no exact amounts. Whatever looks right. Alright, so that's about how much peanut butter I got in there. It's approximately half that jug, maybe a third of the jug. So now this is going to be the difficult part because this stuff is hard to spread, but we're going to try our best here. Just mix it in. So get a nice sticky peanut butter granola. I'll tell you what, this is as good as anything you're going to buy at any of the bait dealers. So we got this all mixed up. This is obviously, we got about half a barrel, as you can see, of sticky peanut butter, super sweet, sickeningly sweet bear granola. So this is as good as anything you're gonna buy at a bait dealer for about half the price, as I'll calculate for you here in a little bit. Now, with this recipe, as in any bear bait, right? You shouldn't just buy a whole bunch of stuff and hope it works. What I would do is I would make a small batch. Buy yourself a small bag of oats and some test materials and test it out. So I've used this mix right here in Michigan extensively, up in the UP. I've used it in Minnesota, and both those places worked phenomenally. The bears ate every last little oat. Now in Wisconsin, I've had it out too, testing it there, and depending on how many other baits are in the area, this bait is either just as good as there as Michigan and Minnesota, or it's a little iffy. So I've got it at one site that you're going to see that's totally cleaned out, and I have it at another site where the bears didn't really care for it. So definitely try a little tester to make sure it's going to work out for you. But if it does, it is cheap and a phenomenal bait. Just takes a little bit of elbow grease to get it mixed up, and you're good to go. So yeah, so with this recipe, just use whatever you can find that's a good deal, right? There's you don't have to follow this exact recipe, like I said. Use whatever, get creative, use what you can. I've used all kinds of stuff throughout the years, so I recommend you do that too. Just find whatever you can. The biggest thing is you want some candy or something sweet. You want some, maybe something proteiny like sunflower seeds or peanut butter or something, just things like that. But there is no hard rules with this recipe. Just the goal is to find a good deal. So that's what I would highly recommend with this. But yeah, anyway, hope it works out for you guys. And good luck this season. Alright folks, 10 gallons of homemade beer granola. Got all the good stuff in there. See how it looks in a couple days. Alright guys, let's see what we got. Look at that. So I put up 10 gallons of oats. Or beer granola, I mean. And we're pretty much cleaned up. Oh, yep. See, they've been eating it pretty good. So, yep, great sign. So, excellent guys, that's great news. Oh, the bear granola is working. Proof is in the pudding right there.